Nominate Jamie Backle.
That sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Second. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'll go with that. She's a good prayer.
Yeah. Qualification.
Can I ask for about a 10-second delay here? Okay, I'm going to try an experiment.
Okay.
Are you going to consult a lawyer?
Just see if you want.
Lori, how about you? Call me in 10 seconds if you don't want to also be considered for this. Oh, I just realized that the only phone you could call me on is recording this, so never mind.
Well, I guess I'm it.
Move nominations be closed.
Yay.
Can we go for another acclamation?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Wow, I love it when it moves along. So now we're into old business, and as I was creating this agenda, the only old business that I could see that needed addressing, that perhaps needed addressing in this meeting, or it was new business last year, but it would be old business this year, there was a mention of the NACCC Best Practices Handbook. And if somebody could explain what that is, I would appreciate it.
Well, it's something that was developed at the Center for Congregationalism. I believe it's been posted on the center's website.
Center for Congregational
Center for
Leadership.
Congregational, right.
Leadership. It's
Yes.
Center for Congregational Leadership.
Leadership.
.org.
Okay.
Yeah. And I believe it's been posted online. It was developed by Betsy Morrow and Company.
And in fact, I thought they mailed a copy to every
I think
NA
they
church
did.
in the
I
country.
think they did.
And why did we talk about?
Because she hadn't written it yet, and so we were.
Yeah,
I was basically
yeah.
saying, this is being worked on, this is going to be neat, look for it when it comes to you.
Right. And Kate, do you know whether we have this?
I
You
don't,
should have it. If you don't, it's online and you can download it.
yeah, I
Okay.
can download it.
Alright.
I don't think we
Okay.
do.
So, all right, then I will just say that we need to all look at this and leave it at that. So is there any other, yes, Nancy?
In 2013, I had a brain escape there. The minutes say that we had agreed to, or we made motions to give $250 from the Center for Congregational Leadership at Olivet College and $250 to the National Association for Betsy Morrow. If I remember correctly, I requested information as to how to make out the checks and where to send them, and I didn't, to my knowledge, ever receive that information. So if I could receive that information, I will send the checks 2 years later. And I apologize profusely.
What were we sending it to Betsy for?
Over and above the amount of reimbursement for meeting travel.
Oh, because she had come to the.
Yeah.
For 2013?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So,
Nice question.
Yeah, I'm sure that would be appreciated, and we can get that information to you.
thank you.
So was there anything else from last year or previous years that needs to come up in old business? Yes, Ed?
In old business, I had mentioned last year that we thought it would be a neat idea to have a quarterly informational bulletin. This is what the churches in our district are doing, and I volunteered that I would go ahead and put that together if I received information from churches. I didn't receive information from churches, which is why we haven't had that. Now, I can, for example, because I do get your church newsletter here from Anchorage. I could harvest random bits that I thought were interesting, but
Actually, be pretty good.
I think the idea was that it would, if there's something that you wanted prayer for from the other churches, that we could do that. So if you want to just leave that in my hands to harvest, and then people will pray for random things, that's fine. And I'm more than willing to do that, but just please be advised that whatever has the snazziest clip art will probably get
So we need to get snazzier, is what you're saying.
No, but you could just say, circle something, add this bit. Please make sure that this thing gets prayed for. And then
And
I'll
you're
try,
doing this
I'll do that.
quarterly?
I'll do that I'll shoot for once a quarter.
Okay.
We'll see how that works.
I personally think it's a great idea. We also, when some of us met at last year's National Association meeting, we sort of incorporated the PNWCCC with other far-reaching churches and to kind of pull them all together. And I don't know whether that we meant it to be a separate entity from, or whether we were incorporating it into us. And I know that you were at that table.
Yeah.
And we were going to call it the DNR. DNA, I'm sorry.
You gotta be careful.
Basically, the Distributed National Association, because those are for the people who are all over the place.
And so and someone had an objection to the DNR. DNA.
There's RNA and DNA, okay?
Barely on the resuscitation. So I don't know, I'd love just a little bit of discussion about that. And there are some churches actually that came to that table that were not in this region at all. They were like far flung to the south and also to,
Salt Lake was one of them.
Salt Lake.
Yeah.
well, Salt Lake definitely was one of them, yeah. And maybe it's something that we should bring up at the Salt Lake meeting and talk about again and see. But I think that I'd like to know from this group with making it part of the PNWCCC or just having us part of the far reachers, we'll call them.
I have a question. Are these churches currently affiliated with any association?
With NA.
With NA, but
They're
not a
in
region.
association.
No,
Not in
Yeah, they
region.
are.
That's-
I understand.
Salt Lake just joined Cal West.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
point,
Well,
the
that's
point
The-
was
yeah.
that the churches that are, far from each other, in other words, they can't drive down the road and have a meeting. Some way for us to use the technology, for example, to connect ourselves. So we weren't just sort of out there alone
I think it's a
at
nice
the
idea.
times that we meet and whenever the MA meeting is. So it was just a round table of we had lunch together and we just, started thinking about some ways that we could not be isolated by distance when we've got the technology and some other ways that we can connect. So it wasn't any formal association. We came up with the name, but, that was just sitting around the table after lunch. So,
And there wouldn't be a meeting face-to-face during the year. It would all be digital. It'd all be a matter of, yes, Pinky?
Can I ask how many churches are in the association?
In the NA or in the PNWCCC?
In the Northwest?
Pacific.
Just one.
In
this one?
Yeah.
There's
PNWCCC.
Are there 7?
Yeah,
How
I
many?
think so.
7.
Yeah.
7 is other sign.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we're a little
Yes.
further away from
The rest.
Everybody.
them.
You may have noticed that on the flight over here.
But last year, Salt Lake was not a part of Cal West at that time, and so they were feeling a little out in left field as well. And yes, Barb?
To follow up on Pinky's question, would someone please say the names and locations of those 7 churches?
Letter to the 7 churches.
There's,
Laodicea, Philadelphia.
there's Maltby Congregational Church, which is in north of Seattle, on the west side of Washington State. There's Tacoma Congregational in Tacoma. There's Warden Community Church, which is in the middle of the desert in eastern Washington. Milton Freewater Congregational, which is on the eastern side of Oregon, just south of Walla Walla, just south of the border between Washington and Oregon. There's Ione Church in Oregon, which is kind of the middle of Oregon, and we don't see much of them, but they're still affiliated with us. And then there are the two Alaska churches, the Home Church and Anchorage.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, what about, is it Ingle Chapel?
Yeah, Ingle Chapel.
That's Milton.
Milton
Milton
Chapel.
Freewater.
Oh,
Freewater.
Oh, yeah,
that's
Milton,
Freewater.
yeah,
Okay.
Ingle Chapel is the name of the church, right?
Okay.
Milton Freewater's the town.
Yeah.
My bad. It is.
My feeling is if there are any churches that are unaffiliated and wish to affiliate with an association, we should welcome them with open arms. Because it only makes us, better at what we're doing if we know what other people are doing and share solutions with other congregations.
And we actually did invite them to this meeting, the ones, because we had the list from last year from the round table, and so we did invite, it was Joyce Acre was, yeah, we invited her or someone from her congregation. And we also, of course, we sent it to Blaine Simon, who was the one that was,
In Florida?
no, Joyce
In
is
Georgia.
in Georgia.
I did.
Yeah.
Now I get better.
Are there any NACC churches in the Portland area? Or
No.
surrounding?
No.
Nothing down there?
Nope.
That's a-
How about Idaho?
No,
Nothing in Idaho.
No congregation?
nothing in Idaho.
And not in Arizona either.
Idaho's one.
Are you saying no congregational churches in those states?
NA
or-
churches.
Or
NA.
NA churches?
NA churches.
Only, yes.
Yeah,
There's a
there's-
big difference.
I'm
How
sure
many
there's-
are in the NA?
UCC or 4C churches?
Total in the NA, 400 and,
Not many more than
30.
400.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's how many. were in the
That-
last-
that
in the
number
400.
changes.
It does, it changes from year to year, but it's somewhere in the low 400s.
So they may not be members of NA, but they might be members of UCC, which is the other association there.
I think that next year when the conference will be held in a more tropical climate.
Salt Lake isn't tropical.
No, our regional meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, Washington, Oregon, one of those
Well, that's the
southern
next,
states.
next on the agenda.
Yes.
All, that might be a good time to invite the people
Yes.
back
Well, and I
and
think-
make the trip to.
yeah, I think also that at the national meeting again this year in Salt Lake, we will kind of resurrect that and have another, whether it's in another room other than lunch or whether it's during lunch one day or something, but I think it's something to think about, but it isn't anything that it's not a voting kind of
It's not that
a thing to come in, but anyway, we wanted you to all be aware of that. Okay, the next is new business. So I will entertain anyone that has anything under new business. Yes.
Do we want to vote on accepting the treasurer's report under new business?
That's a wonderful idea. You all have received the treasurer's report, and it is new, so it could be new business. So I will entertain a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
So moved.
Any objections? And I will deem it accepted. Thank you very much. So if there is nothing else actually under new business, then we will move to setting the date and place for the 2016 annual meeting of the PNWCCC.
I believe it's Warden's turn. Well, it's probably Ione's turn, but I don't know that we'll get them.